So, today I'd like to share with you some tips on how to be better at playing the entire role in War Thunder. Chaos just keeps getting stronger and stronger every update, and it's very rare to see players dedicating themselves to entire duty. With this list of tips, hopefully many will take up the AA mantle and clear the skies of flying annoyances. Just know that playing entire is a thankless job. Your team will rarely notice you protecting them, and the game also gives you next to no rewards for taking down planes. However, it's a pretty chill role, so if you want to play the game in a more passive way, just for the fun of it, I'd say this role can be decent for you. As always, I won't delve into top tier stuff, because I'm not knowledgeable enough with all the mechanics used there, so we'll mainly focus on tips for World War II and Cold War era vehicles, basically rank 1 to around 5-6. Before even jumping in the battle, you might want to go into your settings and activate the compass in third-person view. This will come in handy for the next step. Every time you spot a plane, try to notify your team. If you have your crosshair on the enemy plane, and then open the communication menu, the air alert message will, instead of just saying air, give the coordinates and altitude of the enemy aircraft. Plus, if you have activated the compass, a small aircraft icon will appear on it to help you locate it. Note that this mark is not tracking the enemy, it's just giving you its last known location for a few seconds. Sometimes when enemy planes are close enough to you, a small red warning arrow will appear on the edge of your screen, if you don't directly see them. Just turn your camera until the plane enters your field of view and the arrow will disappear. Keep in mind that unless you're on console, this warning indicator is quite inconsistent and might appear and disappear whenever it wants. This tip is reserved for console players, since this feature is not available on PC, I think. For whatever reason, console players can lock onto enemy aircrafts when they are in a ground vehicle. If you added a button to the lock-on target in your options, every time you see an enemy plane you can simply press the associated button and said plane would be quote-unquote locked. This feature is extremely powerful for 3 reasons. First, it has insane range. From my testing, you can soft lock flying objects up to around 8 km away. Second, a soft lock-on will give you a constant warning arrow should the plane you are trying to take down leaves your field of view. And third, this soft lock-on does not deactivate should the enemy plane disappear behind any obstacle like a building or a mountain. You can still track them through those, allowing you to catch them by surprise. Also, I should mention that to soft lock a flying enemy, you don't even need to be looking directly at it. You can just casually spam that button while turning your camera like a maniac and you'll still track planes. You'll hear a small beeping sound when you just locked on a target, and if you look at it, your crew members will also give you a free call out.
Flieger, 3 Uhr. Entfernung, 1400 Meter.
War Thunder has a class system for its vehicles, and of course, if you want to take down planes, you'll probably be looking at the SPAA line for each nation. The thing is, not every vehicle branded as SPAA is actually good at this entire job, just like some regular tanks or SPGs can be equally deadly towards planes as well. For this you might want to watch gameplay of the vehicle you want to play beforehand, that way you won't be surprised. For example, the ZSU-57-2 is pretty bad as an entire, but is a monster at taking down tanks. In general, lower caliber guns have a faster firing rate, which makes adjusting your aim less difficult and more suited to AA duty compared to higher caliber guns. One thing that I like to do before spawning in my entire is to check the location of the enemy airfields on the map that I'm about to play. To do this, equip a plane in your lineup and select it at the start of the battle. The minimap will then unzoom to show you the air spawns. Look at those of the enemy to help you locate planes faster later on, or to take down any early helicopters which would spawn after the battle starts. If you decide to spawn as an SPA, know that you can still be useful to your team in the early minutes of the game, even if you don't have any anti-tech armament. Anti-airs like the Ocelot, the Strela, the Type 93, etc., because they are harmless to tanks, have access to the scouting ability, so try to use it from a safe location as much as you can. You'll score 3 assists and you'll be a great team player. This one might sound obvious, but I rarely see SPA players taking cover. What I like to do is to hug a building or a rock, preferably higher than the vehicle that I'm using. That way when I engage a plane, should I miss too many of my shots or if multiple targets are on me, I can just reverse into cover and let the plane fly over me safely. If you combine this with the earlier tips, you can spot a plane at a far distance, hide behind cover to avoid them seeing you, you can even track them if you're on console, only to reveal your location at the last second to surprise and hopefully destroy them. This piece of cover can be the difference between life and death when a plane is about to strafe you. One thing that you should always try to gauge is how close you want a plane to be before engaging them. Unless you have access to missiles, most of the time, it's best if you wait for your target to be around 2 km away or closer from you. Basically, you want to wait for planes to commit for their bombing strafing run. That's when they are the most vulnerable because they fly in a straight line and usually no longer watch around them. Do not start shooting at a plane when it's just a black dot far in the distance. You'll only ruin your element of surprise. Also, depending on the ammo that you use, your range might be limited by default. For example, some anti-air belts end up exploding after traveling a certain distance, making long-range engagements useless anyway. If you have the ability to get out of the spawn, you should take it. Planes will always keep a lookout for you in the spawn, and based on how the maps are designed, you rarely have any kind of cover or concealment there, transforming you into an easy prey. You should also follow your team when they are actively pushing the enemy. If we take a random map as an example, should your team be pushing the enemy in, let's say, the C portion of the map, you might want to be around 1 or 2 squares behind them, which in this case means that you would be in the D or E section of the map. That way you always maintain optimal range cover for your team, especially when they are pushing the enemy. The last advice I'd like to give you is more of a suggestion. Unless you're using a radar SPA, I highly suggest that you stay in third person as much as you can when shooting. The muzzle flash and effects can be quite annoying in first person if you want to be precise. I personally think you are way more accurate when shooting in third person rather than in first. You see a lot better where the shots are going, tracking or switching targets is a lot faster, etc. So there you go. I hope my advice will be of any use to you, or that it would motivate some of you to play SPA a bit more, rather than spawning one as a last resort, once you're out of points, or after too many planes are in the skies and the situation becomes out of control. Anyway, probably much more could be said, or maybe you know some tips that I don't know about, so if that's the case, don't hesitate to share your knowledge. It's always appreciated. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one.